Christina Dorner, you have amassed one of the biggest followings on YouTube as a group fitness instructor and personal trainer that I think I've ever seen. And one of the things I get asked by a lot of personal trainers and group X instructors is, I want to go online. I don't know how to do it. You are the go-to person to come to with this question. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about all this. My very first question for you is, what's your secret? You've got a global following on YouTube. How did you do it?
Well, thank you for having me with you to talk about this. Like, it just kind of happened. I just kept working at it. I was not going to give up on it. It was like once I started, it was just kind of like keep going, keep watching other people's videos, and not even other people's fitness videos, but other people's videos on how to make YouTube videos. So I wasn't really basing what I was doing off of what anybody else was doing, except for how to do the audio and how to do the video and that kind of thing.
Is there anything you think you've done that helped you stand out? I know you said earlier you go live twice per day.
Yeah, so I go live every day, Monday through Saturday. We go live every day at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And then on Wednesdays, we have a noon class too. But yeah, so we do, it's all live. Once in a great while, I'll shoot something that is not live, like I'll shoot little programs and things that aren't live. But typically, everything is done live. So what I do that's different, I think, is that my workouts aren't shot like a workout video. They're shot like you're in a group fitness room. So some people don't like that, which that's fine. I mean, I personally don't prefer workouts with no talking, but some people love that. So there's something out there for everyone. But I don't think that really anyone else is doing like kind of where the same as I am, where we're doing like live group fitness online every day.
Yeah.
And it's also set up like a program. So like, at a gym, if the group fitness schedule every day at 9 a.m. is Zumba every day, and that's the only time you have to go, and then there's a body pump on Thursday, you're doing one day of weights and all this Zumba, and like you're kind of like stuck with whatever the schedule is when you can go. Where mine is set up where you're doing 2 to 3 days of cardio and mobility and 3 to 4 days of strength training. So it's set up in as a program already, so you're not like, oh, what am I going to do today? You don't even have to think about it.
No, that's really, really smart. And you built a studio in your basement. That's where you film these videos.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great because they're very professional. And I'm going to link to your YouTube channel below so everybody can check you out. But very professional. No one would ever know it's in your basement. It looks literally like you're in a gym.
Thank you. We started for 6 months. Uh, it started March 18th, 2020, when our world closed down. And for 6 months, we were moving the furniture out of the living room every day. And then it just became, oh, maybe we should do this in the basement because this is kind of annoying. So then we came downstairs. And there's like, if you look back at some of the older videos, there's like stages of the basement. There's like, at one point, there was like that floor that's like rubber puzzle pieces. And I was on that on one side of the basement. And then my husband and my father-in-law put down hardwood floor and we changed the background. And then, yeah, so like it's evolved over almost 6 years.
Yeah, that's great. What was the hardest part about building your studio in your house?
Deciding what to do with it. I'm not good at designing. And every time I want to change something in here, I'm like, it'll start in like say August, and then nothing will actually happen until January because like I keep buying things to change it, and
Yeah,
trying things that don't work that I don't like, and
yeah.
so that's kind of the hardest for me. But as far as like audio and video, it's just little by little, I just kept on learning more and trying to find out more and researching how to get better audio and how to make a camera turn into a webcam. Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
very, very difficult. I see you've got one of your lights behind you. I'm guessing,
hmm
where do you get all your equipment from? Is it from Amazon? Or you go to a local store?
A lot of mine's been from Amazon. So though I have that light back here, it came in a 2-pack. And they're actually great because they came like with a, what do you call that? A bag, and you can transport them. So they like fold down really small. I haven't really moved them out, but sometimes I'll bring them upstairs if I'm shooting up there. But they weren't that expensive, 2 lights. And then I have one main light that's a huge ring light in the center. And yeah, so that was probably from Amazon too. The audio I ended up getting from a company because that started to be a thing, right? And so this company started, kind of specializing in that along with group fitness for gyms. And I called them and they were so great. They hooked me up with whatever I needed. And then when I got a mixer and 2 Shure audio mics because sometimes I have, guests and friends come on and work out with me. And so they need a mic too. When I got it, they called me on the phone and helped me hook it up to make sure the sound was right. And that was really, really great. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And you
Yeah.
have people in your classes from all over the world, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. We actually just did a step class in the UK in September. And we had 50 people there. We probably could have gotten more, but we could only fit 50 in the room. But, it was so much fun. It was so great to meet people that, that I was like, how am I would never even, I'll never forget actually upstairs the first day, because I was teaching for a couple months, and then these 2 women, Jojo and Liz, jump on, and they're like, we're in the UK. I'm like, I'm live. And I'm like, what? There's people in the UK doing these workouts? And then those 2 ended up being the 2 women that helped me put the event together. This was really cool. So they've been with me all this time, and
Wow.
and there's a group of women in South Africa that get together and do the workouts and send me little videos of them doing it together. It's really
Wonderful.
cool.
That's the best thing about the internet, just bringing people together. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Wow.
pretty amazing. Yeah.
You said you had 50 people in a class. When you're teaching a group fitness class on YouTube, is there a limit to how many people can?
No, so this morning I did kind of like an old school aerobics, high low, a workout, and I believe there was like close to 300 on that one. And then then I did a mobility after, and those always go down a little bit, but a mobility after, and that was around 190 people were on for that, which is, yeah.
Wow. Now,
Yeah.
when you're going live or when you're recording, are you just going on YouTube and hitting live, or is there a software program you're using?
Yeah, so I use OBS, which is a free software. Again, I taught myself how to, if you just sit and look at tutorials on YouTube, you can figure it out. It's not that hard once you kind of get into the flow of it. And yeah, so there's a YouTube, it's a Studio YouTube Live, which is part within YouTube. And you just kind of you have to set your stream settings and all that stuff up in there. And then you stream through OBS. So that allows me to I could just go live on YouTube, but OBS allows me to have multiple cameras, timers, other graphics, and music if I wanted to.
Hmm.
Actually, yeah, so that I can balance my audio and my video. That my mixer going into OBS helps. So
Okay, so you're connecting the OBS to your YouTube channel and it's going through there.
yeah, yeah. So if you're on YouTube, the live YouTube channel or YouTube page, like going live on YouTube, it
Hmm.
asks if you just want to go live with your phone or whatever you're on, or if you want to use streaming software. And then you click that, you have to put in what's called a stream key, and then like syncs up with YouTube.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I would imagine a lot of people in fitness haven't even heard of OBS studios. So that's a great tip, and it's free.
It is free. Yeah, yeah. It does take a little bit of learning, but like once you get it, just like anything else, you can go through the steps and figure
Yeah.
it out. You can make different scenes on it. So for instance, like I have a scene that's set up for my basement all the time. So that has all of my timers, like I said, all my graphics, whatever. But sometimes I'll shoot outside. And I have a separate OBS, it's called a scene, that's called outside. I have one that's basement and one's outside. And the one that's outside has just like some different stuff, like I don't say, oh, it's not a filter, but like the lighting settings and Some of the things are just a little bit different on there, but I haven't set up a scene in a long time, so it'd probably be like a relearning process again, just like anybody else who's just starting to learn it, you know? Some of the people that I've worked with that wanted to do this, once I put OBS into the mix, they're like, I can't do this. And then that's the end of it. And they don't really want to learn
Right.
software. And it's like, you can do it. You really can. You just have to put the time in, you know?
Like anything else, you have to put the work in. I mean, we live in this phenomenal age where, gee whiz, you're speaking with people around the world from your home, and we've never had that ability in all of human history. But you got to put a little time into it.
Yeah. I mean, well, the thing was with me was like, well, during the, like, you know, we don't like to use the word of what shut us all down on my channel. I keep it like to the minimum.
I know.
But during that time, there was really nothing else to do. So now like things are back to normal. People are back to work and, you know, everything. So like then it was just like, oh, well, there's nothing else to do but learn how to do this.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
And you brought up a really good point that I think a lot of people who are thinking about going online don't think about too much. And you said the word we're not allowed to use. I sometimes call it the P word, because for those who have never gone online, whether it be YouTube or other video platforms, there's algorithms that do scan for certain words. And if you say certain things, they tend to, well, sometimes they shadow ban you. They say they're showing you to everybody, but maybe they don't. So without using those words, you can allude to them in other ways. And I see people on TikTok doing that a lot. But yeah, cursing usually not appropriate, but nobody's going to be doing that probably during a fitness video.
yeah, no, I do have one guest. She's kind of funny of my friend. Like once in a while, something comes out and I have to go in and beep it. And the audience loves when I beep her. Like it's just funny. And that's actually another thing that we kind of is a little different with us is that we're just really ourselves. There's no like, come on, and one and two, and like sometimes I'll do that like to be funny, but it's just I don't cut out the mistakes. I make mistakes. People feel comfortable with that. Some people don't like it. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that's a little bit different with my channel is like the people who come on, they're my friends. They're, you know what I mean? They're like some family. So it's not like I'm like hiring these professional people to be on with me. It's just we're just kind of real people, which is a little
Yeah.
different kind of.
It's strange when being real is not the norm. And I think people appreciate that, especially now we're living in a world of AI where you can't hardly even tell what's real and not real anymore,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So I think you're basically putting the you back in YouTube, which is a good thing.
Oh, that's
Yeah. No, it's definitely true. And you said you have the ability to hear what people around the world are saying and you can bleep them out if you have to?
Oh no. So I have like guests that come on.
Oh, I
So
got you.
yeah, my guests that come on, the one girl sometimes something will slip out of her mouth. And so when I go back, so what I do is I take the video down right after it's live because I do add in a little bit of graphics. I'll cut out like 2 minutes maybe out of the very beginning of the workout, not the workout, but the intro, because I'm just kind of double checking that everything is working. And sometimes I'm just talking to the people that are on the live video. So I'll cut some of that out. So it's the people, like we call it the after party, people that do it later are like, they're not like, what, you know, even though they can fast forward through it. So I cut a little of that out. And then like, if there's things that I do need to like bleep, I'll do that. But I typically don't like edit my mistakes out or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good thing. What software are you using to edit your videos? You're doing it yourself. You're not farming that out to a company, right?
No, I do. Yeah, I do it all myself. I have an assistant, Regina. She's amazing, and she does website, all the website. I do the website, and she makes sure that I don't put anything stupid on the website. She's like, I literally could not do it without her. But yeah, no, the YouTube, the streaming, the videos, the workouts, all of that is me. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
use Final Cut Pro to do that,
Okay. So
which I
you're a Mac girl. Okay. Final Cut
yeah.
Pro is okay, good.
It is, but it's kind of like old school, and I kind of feel like every time I say that to someone who's like a real video editor, they're like, "You're still using Final Cut Pro?"
Final Cut Pro is powerful from what I understand. I mean, it's Apple only proprietary software, but I think it's I don't hear anything bad about it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah.
I use Camtasia for my videos, but I thought about just downloading Final Cut Pro for the Apple people. I think Apple comes with iMovie, and
Yeah.
Final Cut Pro is kind of like the big brother or big sister of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I had learned it a really long time ago just for fun, which is, a long time ago, like in probably 2000 or something like that. So it was kind of like, oh, I'll just go back to that instead of trying to learn something new. But I do kind of wish that I don't wish, I have to either do it or not, right? Try to download something and see what else. Because there are some things that are better, like After Effects and things like that, that are
Mm.
have many more options to play with different things you can do.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of options out there these days. I mean, Final Cut Pro is one of them, and again, I use Camtasia. I know I have friends who use another program called Filmora for their videos, which is also very powerful. So there's a lot out there. But the good thing about Apple is you're buying it from Apple, and it works seamlessly with the Apple products, and so that's definitely an advantage if you're in the Apple ecosystem. Like it sounds like we both
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, I do. It's like, so I actually, once I got, I'd say 3 years in, I wanted to make sure everything that I was doing was like powerful enough for having three cameras and the audio and all that stuff. So I ended up getting a Mac Studio to make sure I can get all, like, it's strong enough for me to
Yeah.
stream and it looks good and all that stuff. So that's what I stream with. I used to do it with my phone when I first started, and then, then my laptop, and now this. After a
Yeah.
lot of work, you got to keep working at it.
Yeah, absolutely, it is, and I think people appreciate that. It's not it's not like all prepared like you might see on the TV news or something like that. It's just you, and you're making it all happen. I'm curious. In your videos, I notice you have timers that click down. 30 seconds, 15 seconds. Are you adding that in when you're doing live, or is that something you're doing on the back end when you're editing everything?
Yeah, so those are done live. My husband sits down here and we call him the producer. And I have actually, my OBS is pretty cool. So like my keyboard, you can put hotkeys on the keyboard. So like 3 is the 30-second timer, 4 is the 45. And then, A is for like the little thing that says check out my Amazon. So we have these two graphics of a male and a female police officer. We call them the step police. That they're not gonna, if you miss a step, it's not a big deal. So like, that my husband puts the graphics in while we're doing the workouts.
That's great. That helps out a lot because I think some people be like,
Totally.
"How are you doing those timers?" Like we have a friend in common who was wanted to know how to do the timers herself for her classes. And is your husband also changing the cameras? Because you said you have
hmm
multiple cameras, so you're not there, doing your thing and at the same time changing cameras. Someone's doing that for you.
Yeah. So I actually could do that. So like I've done that before in workouts. So I could take my keyboard across the room. It's so weird because like most people don't care, but like I'll be hitting like, all right, you guys ready, get set. If say my husband wasn't here for some reason, he's like he had to go somewhere, and I'm hitting the 60-second timer myself. But like I have to do that and then get back on my step for like a hit
Gotcha.
class or something, right? Some people complain about that and be like, do you want a timer or not? But yeah, so everything's on there. So like for instance, the C button is the close-up cam, the L is live. We have F, which is a full screen doggy cam, because we have
Nice.
the camera on the dogs because everybody always wants to
Nice. I
see what the
love it.
puppies are doing. Yeah, yeah.
That's fantastic. And you have a Bluetooth keyboard. What's the distance that the Bluetooth keyboard will work with? I mean, I've got one too, and I've never tested it, so.
You know what? I have no idea because
Okay.
I mean it works across the room, which I would say is probably 10 feet,
Okay.
and it works from there. So yeah.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Now you've got a whole setup down there in your house. What's the minimum that someone could go live on YouTube or even record a YouTube? What do they need? I mean, do they need all the lights and the Bluetooth keyboards and all that jazz? I mean,
I
what do
mean,
you?
I went I I went live on my phone. Like for the first like 2 months.
Hmm.
You couldn't get computers delivered to you. Like you couldn't get the supplies you needed. So it's like, all right. And I mean, it was at the time where, people were looking for online workouts and stuff, but go ahead, start using your phone if that's what you have, right? I mean, the iPhone has a great camera. I mean, when I shoot outside, I'll shoot like 10-minute stretches or whatever outside. I almost always use my phone with a Rode mic.
Okay.
Do you have to use a Rode mic? No, the audio will be better. But like, you could absolutely get a tripod, set up your iPhone on it, and just start shooting.
And you just took the words out of my mouth. Are you using a tripod? And how tall is the tripod? Because they come in different sizes. I've got a
Yeah,
teeny tiny one, but
I mean, this one, this little guy right here, I got this at Target for like, I don't know, $30.
mhm.
Um, and it's not very big, but like I'll sit it up on something, I'll just find a park bench or a little table or something. But I
Yeah.
do have different sizes. I have another one that like, expands and so over time I just got a little collection of those. But like if I'm traveling, this one is great because it just I can bring it in my carry-on. Yeah.
For those people who will ask, you've got close to 500,000 followers on YouTube alone. How long did it take you to reach that critical mass where you just kind of like started getting followers? I'm guessing in the beginning it was kind of like you and maybe your in-laws watching you on YouTube, and maybe that was it. How long did it take before you got an appreciable following?
Oh God, it's hard. Well, it probably took me 3 years to get to. It did. It took me 3 years to get to 100,000.
That's really good.
I will say that I've been teaching since I was 16 years old, so over 30 years. And I'd been at so many different gyms. I'd moved multiple times. So like when I did this, I started posting on my Facebook, we're going to go live. And people were like, "Oh my God, I could work out with you again."
Nice.
So
Nice.
pretty quickly, like the first day I went on, there was like 10 people. And then within a month, there was 40 or 50 people, and then by January, I had enough. I think at that time, I think you needed 1,000 subscribers to go live on YouTube. I don't know what it is now,
Yeah, I'm
but
not sure either.
by June, I hit that because I was like, please share, 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 have everybody subscribe. And yeah, so then I was able to go live on YouTube, but it happened once I hit 100,000. I think there's something about that people all of a sudden are like, oh, if she has 100,000, it must be good or something. I don't
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And you get that little plaque that they send you, and that's good.
know. Yeah,
A little
yeah,
trophy, very cool. No, I think that's good because again, people may think, oh, it's easy. It takes time to grow these things, and you did.
yeah,
You got a good amount. What do you say, 1,000 in 3 years? That's phenomenal.
yeah.
It's
It was
phenomenal.
like, I was like, why am I not growing? And
Yeah,
I'd see somebody that started at the same time as me that like, and you just do this to yourself and you can't help it. You see someone start at the same time as you that doesn't give form cues and doesn't, and like that, it's just not good fitness. And they're at 1 million and you're like, what are they doing? I don't understand.
yeah,
But, everybody's got something they like. And the one thing that I think that makes a difference with the no talking workouts is you can grow anywhere, right? Because everybody understands just watching you. Say in Germany, if someone doesn't speak English, they're probably not going to follow me. They might. Now, I think that YouTube is doing auto dubbing now.
yes.
Yeah, so that's helpful. They were doing the subtitles before, but
Hmm.
during like a step class, that's not the easiest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would imagine. Wow.
yeah.
Um, do you watch anybody else on YouTube do what you do? Do you watch them?
Mm-mm.
You don't.
No.
Okay,
No,
interesting.
well, no, I actually, like I do yoga from other people.
Hmm.
Sometimes on my own. I really love Travis Elliott. I think he's awesome. And yeah, I mean, I told Janice Saffel, I said, I go back to your workouts like from the AAAI conventions in like 1995.
Yeah.
Because I,
She just posted something the other day and it was her doing a workout on, I think it was on TikTok. And I'm like, that's Janice from probably maybe 20 years ago doing a butt workout or something. Yeah. I was like, oh, good for you.
yeah, it's so funny because she was like I'd see her on the schedule and sign up for the AAA class with Janice. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah. She's a powerhouse.
kickboxing, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because I asked you if you watched other people's channels to see, is there anything you wish you saw in other people's videos that you don't? Maybe to give some idea of trainers who are thinking about doing this, hey, maybe I should do this because no one else is doing it?
Some of the things I think, being yourself, being personable, making sure that you're like giving form cues, and I mean that's like really what good fitness is about. Like, and it is hard. Like, I think I spoke to you about that the other day. It is hard to teach to the masses, right? Like, you know, I have 300 people on. They can ask me questions. I do have a live screen of questions and comments up there, so they can ask me questions. It's hard to teach to everyone. So making sure that you have modifications for people, also creating beginner content. You know, it's like a lot of people do that, but I feel like some of the bigger fitness channels, they just go for it, right? And you're like, how do you get there? Some people want to know how you get there. So create beginner content and make your audience feel comfortable with you.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Yeah, if they feel comfortable, I think it's a good thing. Because some channels, some YouTube channels, I'm like, wow. There's one, and I won't even name the gym, but there's no way I would go to that gym. It's the scariest gym I've ever seen. Yeah, and I'll tell you after we're recording what it was, but it's just there's no way. But yeah, you got to feel comfortable. That's absolutely true. When you do your live, are you also streaming live to Facebook as well?
No, I used to do that. I was using something called Restream.
Okay.
That I used to be able to do both. And then I was like, I wanted people to view it on YouTube because I thought you could make money on YouTube. Turns out though, with music, that becomes very tricky.
Right.
So I think a lot of people think that you're going to make like a ton of money on YouTube. I think people think that if you have a 500,000 followers, that you're probably making $500,000. That is not the case at all. Right. So, and I get that in comments too. Like just the other day, someone said to me, someone was like, tell me you're not doing this for the money, all the endorsements you have and YouTube pays you. And I was like, endorsements? I was like, what am I, an NFL player? Like, I'm a lady in her basement. Yeah, so I think that people think that like as even people going on as trainers think that you're going to make all this money. If you're using music at all, if it's copyrighted music, you can use it, but you can't make any money on your video. So whoever owns the copyright to that music makes the money. And not only that, can put ads into your workouts wherever they want to. So I'll use a mix from one of the companies that makes 32 count music. That's one of the hardest things for me is during strength training, I can use not 32 count music, right? For a beat. But for step, for like anything that's choreographed, I need 32 count music. Most of that is copyrighted. Mixes of songs that you know, so say it's Taylor Swift or whoever, right? So when you use those mixes, you can't make any money on your videos.
Even if you're paying a music licensing fee?
So there's that. So I use another thing called Epidemic Sound. Okay. And I do that for my strength training videos. I can use that. I think it's $150 or $70 a year. And I can use that music. But those videos don't get nearly as many views as my step videos. So my typical strength training video, because I do 3 to 4 a week, I have a ton of them on my channel, but because I do new ones every week, they only get 4,000 to 8,000 views.
Only.
So I know that sounds like not a lot, but YouTube pays almost nothing for views. Right. So then as opposed to one of my step classes that I think my highest one has 700,000 views, but I make no money on that at all because of the music.
It's a challenge.
Yeah. So it's good though. I love doing it. And you don't, as you know, fitness, you don't do it because you're trying to I'm trying to make all this money. Yeah. But I do think creators need to know that. There was actually a girl last week that started doing memberships on her YouTube. Her name's Fitness KK. And I loved that she put this video out. She was like, I wish that I could keep doing this for free. Right. And she was like, but I can't. People think I make all this money. And so she charges $1.99 a month to be a member on her YouTube. Which is it's nothing, right? Yeah. I mean, that's half of a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Less than half. Right? So, I mean, I was like, good for you. Like, good for you for, making that decision to do that because people really have no idea that, like, you know, you're
It's a
not
lot
making,
of work. It is a
yeah.
lot of work. I'm glad you brought that up. And yeah, 199 for a month. I mean, gee whiz, that's nothing per year. I'm curious, are you doing anything with Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee or anything like that?
When I started doing these, it was like, 3 or 4 weeks in to that time. And people started saying, well, the gym's not opening. And why don't I send you my gym membership? Can I send you it PayPal or Venmo or something like that? These are people that I knew. So I'm like, sure. So next thing I knew, it was like, almost 6 months later and things still weren't quite normal. And other people that were doing the workouts were like, can I send you something? So I started putting something on Venmo, like in the descriptions. Then when I started getting a little more traction with it, one of my friends was like, why don't you put it on your website that people can pay, you know, something if they want to? And I'm like, all right. Then people were like, well, I want to pay you monthly because I'm doing your workouts every single day. And they were like, and because they couldn't, some people wanted to pay me X, some people wanted to pay me Z. I
Right.
have it so that pay what you feel comfortable with. So
Right.
I have options from $10 a month in $5 increments all the way up to $200 a month for people that want to support the channel because that's how they keep coming on YouTube. Otherwise, I couldn't afford to keep the workouts coming on YouTube if I just did it with what
Right.
they pay.
Well, it's the
Yeah.
value for value model. A lot of podcasts do that too.
Yeah. And what's awesome is that like things I might have told you this when we spoke the other day, but I also I want the people to know that I want the workouts to be free on YouTube. I want them to be free for people who can't afford to go to a gym, who can't afford to pay a membership. But if they can throw something out once in a while, but what's happened after a couple of years, like last week or a couple of weeks ago, I got a message from, let's just say it's Amy. Amy was like, I've been doing your workouts for 4 years now. I've been unemployed until last week. And now I'm going to start helping to support the channel because if there's someone else like me that can't afford, I want to help them to keep the workouts coming. And I'm like, like that's why I do it. And people kind of, you know,
That's
people are
great.
generous and it's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's not just for me, but it's also for keeping
Yeah.
those workouts on there.
No, that's phenomenal. I'm glad she did that. I'm glad you're doing that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a lot of work to make videos.
It really is. I mean, my husband sees me. I'm literally at 6 a.m. I'm on the couch with my dog, and I'm like either writing up something for the next day, or I'm scheduling streams, and sometimes at like 9:30 at night, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot to, and I run down here, and I'm back on the computer, and like it's just nonstop, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been out and about with your husband and somebody said, Christina, I see you on YouTube?
Yes, it's straight. Actually, I was in Scottsdale walking around with one of my friends, and a family walks by me, and the guy says, "Excuse me, do you do step aerobics on YouTube?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "My wife was too shy to say anything. She does your workouts." And the two little kids were like, "Oh, you're so cute."
That's wonderful.
But yeah, sometimes it happens, and it's strange, but it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, it was bound to happen with almost a 500,000 followers on YouTube. Absolutely.
It's weird. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like, what?
No, no, I get it. You're like I'm just this person. I'm in my home doing this thing, but you're reaching out to people all over the world. So it's only a matter of time before somebody's going to see you out and about and be like, "Hey, love your workouts."
Yeah. Yeah.
It is the coolest thing. I see people sometimes on TikTok. I've never even heard of them, but they have millions of followers, and people literally treat them like they're George Clooney, for lack of a better term. I'm like,
Right,
who are you? And they're like 20 years old.
and that's even funnier.
I've seen it. I'm like, who the heck are you? But whatever. But it really is. It's the new economy, and it's a great thing.
Yeah.
I think it's great. What would be your advice for that personal trainer, fitness instructor who's like, I really want to do this, but you know what? I don't think I'm ready for this. What do you suggest they do, or what kind of mindset should they be in? What should they be thinking about if they really want to do this?
The first thing is don't put it off and just do it, because I put it off for like 10 years and my husband kept saying, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? And it took the whole closer of the world to make it happen. And so just start putting your phone on, like just put something out there. Even if it's like once every 2 weeks, just put something out there. Start getting a following, start asking people to follow you, and that's the weird thing, was like one of the things I found out on YouTube. Ask people to follow you. Say, subscribe to my channel. And they will. That's that easy, right? Yeah. So, yeah, just start. Just be yourself would be another one. Because there's so much out there that, like you said, is kind of just not real, not warm, not... And sometimes people put on an act. Like, just be yourself. Because there's always something and somebody for someone. So... I might not be someone's cup of tea, and I'm fine with that. They might like Jillian Michaels better. They might like whoever. And so just do it. Just do it. Just be yourself. And then the last one is get ready for needing a thick skin.
Really?
Yes. People are wonderful, but people are also can be very trying. So yeah, just know that you'll need a pretty thick skin because, yeah.
No, you're right. There are trolls out there. I see them myself. Do you take advantage of the YouTube blocked words content feature where
I do, yeah. And
yeah,
it's not even that. It's not necessarily the trolls. Like the trolls is one thing that's like, clearly that's a troll. It's people who I think feel they need to tell you what you don't. Your mom would say, if you have something nice to say, just don't say. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all.
yeah.
It amazes me what people sometimes say, and you're like, oh, thank you. So, but I mean, hey, it's a free world, it's freedom, but just, you do need a thick skin sometimes to.
Yeah, and I would agree. And then for the people who are thinking about this and they're like, "What?" and they've never thought about this before. Yeah, there are people out there who they say things just to get a rise out of other people. Sometimes they're very nasty. You can go into YouTube and you can put in a whole bunch of nasty words and phrases, and they will never make it into the comments section. You don't want to go into my blocked word setting. It'll make you blush.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah, I'm sure yours is too. I thought of every horrific thing that you could think of and then some, and I threw it in there. And I don't mind people criticizing, and I'm okay with that, but it's when they get really nasty in curses. Like for instance, I don't curse. I try not to. And I mean, I'm not perfect, but it comes out sometimes. But to leave a comment and you just say some really nasty things, no, that's not getting through. Because I always think about, there could be some kid reading these comments somewhere.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I want it to be
Yeah.
family friendly. So I don't allow any of that stuff, whether it's on the AAAI channel or my own channel. I don't do that at all. So I think for people who may be thinking about that, you can definitely go in and block a whole bunch of phrases. I mean, whatever you can think of, you can block and it'll never make it into the comments.
Yeah.
Do you have, like on your live streams, do anybody say anything weird?
Oh, okay. So that was that's a great point. So that was happening a lot at the beginning. I'd see like bots come on and it would just like take over the chat. So there's a setting when you go live, when you schedule a live stream, that says require people who chat to be a subscriber or something like that. And they have to be, you could make it custom for how long they're a subscriber. So I set mine for as long as the workout is. So if I say I did a 30-minute mobility like I did this morning, when I schedule the stream, it says, chat, you need to be a subscriber for at least 30 minutes. I used to do 10 because I was like, that's a commitment if someone wants to wait to be a jerk. But they would wait. And so I was like, I'll just make it the length of the video. So like, if they come on at the beginning of it, they can't comment unless they subscribe.
I think it's a good thing. It definitely is. And sometimes with comments for people who are watching us and they're maybe getting a little freaked out of this, because I know sometimes people, they don't like seeing this stuff, and I get it. What I've noticed, and maybe you've seen this too, is sometimes when people leave like a criticism, and I'm like, I'll leave it up, other people will come to your defense. And I find that so
Absolutely.
heartwarming.
They absolutely do. That's, Yeah. And, sometimes it's ridiculous. Criticism is fine, or, saying, hey, can you do this different or whatever.
Right.
But like last week I had a weird on my Facebook. Actually, you can leave like recommendations or a review on your Facebook page. So someone left a review that was like, this woman is rude or something like that. And I was like, I'm sorry you feel that way, just because I respond to all of those. And that was at 8 o'clock in the morning before a step class. And by 10:15, there was 50 responses to it. And people were like, I don't know what workout you've been doing. But I will say, I can be a little, sometimes I can be a little bit like I get off of this live. I'm like, Kev, was I being a today? And he's like, no, people were like asking ridiculous questions. And I mean, in the middle of step class, somebody being like during choreography, like, ooh, where'd you get your shoes? And I'm like, can we not do that right now? I'm like,
Where'd you get your shoes? I
I'm
love it.
serious. Like I'll be in the middle of like advanced choreography, and I always leave the comments on, and like someone will write 3 sentences about like, oh, today's my birthday and I'm blah 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 blah. And I'm like, can we not talk in the middle of, like, are you working out?
That's pretty funny.
But I do. I can't help it. I'm like, you wouldn't do that to me if I was in a gym and would you walk up to me in the middle of teaching a class and tap me on the shoulder and say that to me?
It's a good point. It is different than teaching in real life, IRL,
Yeah.
as they say online, as the kids say. In real life, it's very different than if you're in a gym and people are, they're doing their thing, you're doing their thing. But yes,
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah.
yeah, and it can be a beautiful thing too.
Oh, it is beautiful. I mean, it is great. And I know nobody means to be
Yeah,
like rude when they're asking a question in the middle of
yeah.
classes, but sometimes I just have to be like, hey, cut it out.
And that's fine too, and that could be part of the whole vibe. That's fine.
Oh, it's become part of the vibe now. It's kind of
Yeah.
like, there's a sentence, a saying that this one woman, it always goes, there it is. Whenever I do something like that, there it is.
That's cute.
So, yeah.
That's really good. I like that. You've even got a catchphrase. You should put that on a t-shirt.
I don't have that one on a t-shirt. We do have other ones.
You should definitely do that. If people are bringing that out in the comments, you should put that on a t-shirt and sell that. Yeah, you definitely
I'm going
should.
to send her one, the woman that started it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely you should do that. I think that's a great thing. So that's some things that I think a lot of people hadn't thought about when they're thinking about doing the YouTube live or even recording YouTube videos. Is there anything you wish you knew before you started doing this? You're like, wow, I really wish I knew that. Nobody told me this.
to just do it and just to get started, I do wish someone told me that. I wish someone told me that it was a lot more work, because I was like, I'll just teach the classes that I teach at the gym online.
Right.
It's a lot more work than that. I do, but I love it because it's mine. So I do wish someone told me that. At the same time, I'm like, I,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I also feel like like when it comes to like mistakes and stuff, that none of the mistakes I made during this were a waste of a mistake, because every single one of the mistakes I made it better in some way, made a change. So
Right.
you'll make mistakes. People are like, oh, it's not going to be perfect, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be. You just do the best you can, and you make a mistake, you try it a different way. Yeah, that was, I wish people would just have had me realize like that I could just do this. You can just go for it and do it.
No, I think that's a phenomenal thing. And you're not teaching at any gyms or anymore. You do everything from home.
Yep.
That's a cool thing.
Yeah. I know. I was teaching at gyms for a really long time, so this is nice to be able to do it.
What are your go-to things to do before you go live?
Drink a pot of coffee, half. I split it with my husband. My go-to things.
Like I remember asking this question to a friend of mine who teaches Group X classes as well, and she said, "Go to the bathroom." And I'm like, "Genius! It never would have occurred to me."
Always. I mean, I'd say if like, because actually it is a thing. Everything is ready for streaming. I look at my clock and it says 8:55. I usually hit start streaming at 8:58. So it is like run upstairs, use the bathroom, make sure when I come down that the dog is in the right spot. He literally comes down and sits right in front of the camera as if he knows. Like he's like, here I am.
Very cool.
Yeah. No, but yeah, going to the bathroom and also making sure that I'm actually hitting the go live button because I've done that a few times where
Okay.
I was teaching for 10 minutes and then all the comments start being like, she must be having technical problems. And I'm like, oh, I've already done like 2 sets of squats and 10, 20 push-ups.
That's funny, but that's a great point. A lot of
Yeah.
people would forget something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you have to hit go live in OBS and then you have to hit go live on YouTube. So, and then you have to wait for YouTube to say you're live before like I hit my like opening button. So, yeah.
How long does it take for YouTube to get that connection going and say you're live?
It's pretty quick. It's like 10 seconds. Yeah. 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 And oh, there's also a delay in the what's happening here and what actually goes out. It's probably 30 seconds to a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how you're able to bleep people out. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. And also with the comments. So like someone will ask me a question in the comments. I have the live comments in front of me. And so they'll be like, oh, can I do this on that lunge? So they can ask live questions. But sometimes I've already moved on to the next move. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get to give you, the correct form on that or whatever. But yeah, so there is a delay. So that was a little weird to get used to as well for, anyone that's wanting to try to do the live.
With your comments, are you able to export those comments out and just have them on put them into a Word doc or something?
You know, I never thought of that. I guess I could.
Because I'm thinking you could take those comments and if people are asking you questions, you could do a video just on the questions.
That's a great idea.
How
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, that'd be a great idea for like a short, like someone said this morning. Oh, that's a great idea.
Where'd you get those sneakers?
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be great, great, easy, low-hanging fruit content for you.
Huh. I'll have to look and see if I can do that. I used to just leave the lives up and not take them down and like add a full length timer or whatever to them after. But what happened with that was actually YouTube stopped pushing live videos as much. So my live videos were not getting as many views. They were starting to
Yeah.
push shorts more because they were trying to like kind
Yeah,
of with TikTok, they were trying to
right.
catch up with that. So I started taking the live video down immediately after adding the full length timer and then whatever. So the comments, if I did a live and left it up, the comments would stay there.
Okay.
But because I take it down, they're not on the screen anymore. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, but I might be able, I'll have to look and see if I can download them because there's like let me see, because I
Yeah.
think the comments are still up from this morning actually on this laptop here. So I wonder
Yeah.
if there's a thing that says download.
That's a thought. I know there's an Apple program for going live, and I've never used it. It's called Ecamm, and it's a paid product. I think you pay monthly, but I'm wondering if that might be an option. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, but I've never tried. I've thought about it. Apparently, it's only for Apple, but they
Okay.
don't make it. But it's Ecamm Live.
Ecamm Live. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, a lot of people rave about that program, and I've never used it yet. I literally just pushed live on YouTube and just did my thing from my messy little office. And you'd say, "Hey, here's how I got where I got my sneakers," and I put all the links below. And
Yeah, I mean, I usually try. I try. That's a lot to do. Let me tell you, like when you're like this, like for instance, this Amazon top. Somebody was like, every time I wear this, people are like, "Where did you get this top? Where did you?" And I'm like, "Oh, it was Amazon." And to remember to take that link, put it in the video. I mean, it's not just teaching your classes anymore. You know what I mean? And unless you have somebody, like a lot of people have a team. Like, I don't know. Other people have. Let's just say
yeah,
Sydney Cummings, who's great. She has a team of people. She has social media people to do that stuff for her.
yeah.
I don't have that. So like, it's a lot of work if you're doing, and you got to pay all those people too.
No, I get you. I'm with you. I do everything myself. I edit
Yeah.
all my videos myself.
Actually, Thanksgiving morning, same thing. Before my in-laws came over, my husband's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I have to update my website for next week because we don't have time to do it tomorrow or the next day." And he's like, "It's Thanksgiving." I'm like, "You got to do it."
Yeah, if you don't do it, it won't get done.
Right, exactly.
So final question. So what are three steps that trainers should do today if they want to start going on YouTube and teaching their classes or educating people about health and fitness? What do you think they should be doing right now to get that ball rolling?
Write down whatever content it is that you want to share. I do think that niching down probably is very good for people. I personally don't think that there's only one way to do fitness, so that's why there's a lot of different kind of workouts on my channel. But I do think I would have grown more if I niched down to, say, pelvic floor health, or menopause is really big right now. So say whatever. If you have something that's a specialty that you think that you're good at, then do that. Get your phone out, write down something, and just start shooting some videos. That's, I mean, literally it. Like, just start doing it. If you want it, you have to do it. Yeah.
Did you overcome any shyness when you did this, or you just jumped in with both feet?
I just jumped in with both feet. Yeah. I just taught it like it was weird at first because I'm like, hey, I'm talking to my phone.
Yes.
But I'd been teaching for so long that it was like, I just started teaching to the phone. You know what I mean? It is a little weird at first, but
Yeah. It's like nobody's there, but you're talking to somebody. I get it.
yeah, I mean, just look and think of one of your clients. Think of Susan or Matthew or whoever. Just think of one of your clients and that you're explaining something to them of how they would need to do something. Or if you're teaching a class, teach it as if there's a classroom on the other side of that camera.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing. Have like an avatar of your typical person and talk directly to them.
Yeah, yeah.
You're in the room with them. I think that's a great tip.
Yeah, I mean, try not to be intimidated by the technology of it, because I know that like fitness is over here and technology is over here for a lot of people, and that's with anything, right? So learning something new, it makes you feel so proud of yourself to when you finally get it and you do it and like all of a sudden something clicks and you're like, "Oh," just if technology of it is what's holding you back, ask questions, search on YouTube literally has the answer to everything you need to know on how to go live and how to make videos and what to use and what to not use. So
Yeah.
it's all out there at our fingertips now.
Yeah. YouTube University.
Yeah, seriously. You just go out there and look for it. You will find it.
Yeah. I think it's a great thing. Christina, this has been a great conversation. I'm going to link to your YouTube channel and all your other social media
Thank you.
links below as well so people can check you out and see what you're doing, which again is very phenomenal. You're definitely making a difference in the world of fitness. And I really think your message needs to get out to more fitness people so they can essentially do what you're doing and reach out to people again around the world like you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me with you today. AAA was my very first certifications. I mean, I probably was certified by you at some point.
You never know.
You never know. I know, it's crazy. But yeah, no, thank you so much. And yeah, this was a real pleasure to talk to you.
No, you